Hello and welcome. I'm Kate Sandhu, a renovation expert. I'm founder of the Beginner Renovators Club and the Instagram account Renovate Like Kate. I'm here today in this beautifully renovated home with two experts in the renovation insurance field, and we want to talk to you about the importance of renovation insurance and how it can help you avoid some catastrophes on your renovation project. I'll hand over to them.
Thanks, Kate. I'm Brooke and I've been in the insurance industry for 8.5 years now, mainly specialising in all types of property insurance.
I'm Louise. I've been in the industry for over 18 years now, and mainly solely in the renovation side of things.
Brilliant, great to be with you today. Okay, so I've got a bunch of questions that I know my fellow renovators will want to know. So first off, what's renovation insurance?
So renovation insurance is literally an insurance policy that's designed to cover your project throughout the course of works, whether you're doing a renovation or a self-build. It will protect the existing structure, so what's there at the moment, all of the new works that's being carried out to the property, your public liability, which is really important during a project, as well as a range of optional extras should you need anything extra included on there as well.
Amazing. So does that mean that I don't need my current home insurance? Does it replace it?
Yeah, so a renovation policy is designed to replace your normal home insurance policy. There's no point having two in place at one point because they're effectively covering the same thing. It's just the renovation policy is more specifically designed to cover all of the new works that are being carried out at your property.
Got it. So Louise, I've hired contractors in the past and they've told me they've got insurance anyway. So why do I need my own?
Yeah, so rightly so. Any reputable builder should have their own insurance to cover them, their company, their employees, and obviously for the public liability if they've caused damage to either third party, injury or property. So obviously protecting your property as well. But things like materials that you buy in or the existing structure is not going to be covered under their policies because they've got no financial interest. So again, you've got to protect your assets. We always recommend though, just checking with the contractor that they've got the minimum sort of public liability of like 2 million. But again, also just do your own sort of advice and checks on them as well, that you're getting the right builder fit to meet your project.
So should I be checking the actual certificates or is it enough to just ask the question?
I think always best to get a copy so you can see their expiry date, have they got the policy in for the next 12 months, and also just to check the level of cover that they've got.
Brilliant. And what level of cover should they have?
So some contractors have different types, so they could just have the public liability, or some have all contractors all risk policy, which cover the whole risk, materials they buy in, the works that they do, but the main thing obviously the employee liability as well, if they have got like tradesmen working for them under their contractor.
Fab. So is there a specific level of cover that a contractor needs to have?
We would always recommend a minimum of 2 million public liability because most projects are now to cater for third party damage and injury would be sufficient on that.
Great, fab. So what's the difference between home insurance and renovation insurance?
So home insurers can normally cover projects up to a really small amount. So if you're only doing up to about 20,000 of work on your property, there's no structural work, so it's all internal. Sometimes home insurers can continue cover throughout that. Some home insurers do apply terms though. This might restrict the cover, it might exclude any cover that's resulting from the works being carried out at the property. And in some cases, the whole policy can be invalidated when there's any works being carried out to the property. So it's really important that clients speak to their home insurers just to see what their terms are in relation to works.
Absolutely. And so is there a difference? Like, is it really important to check that you're covered whether you're living in the property or not? Does that make a difference?
Yeah, so that's a key thing to point out to your normal home insurers. That will be a term that they wouldn't be able to continue cover. And that's where we step in because we don't mind if you're living there, if you're not. We completely understand that a lot of people wouldn't want to live in a project when it's being carried out. I know I certainly don't at the moment. And so yeah, that is what our policy is for.
Ah, perfect. So it's so important to check.
And also you don't want to be midway through your project and decide that you're going to move out and then your current provider provide terms and then you have to source alternative insurance at that point.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. So what should we do if we don't know whether we need renovation insurance or not?
I think the first thing is you've got to speak to your current provider, see what their terms are. If it is like what Brooke said, only a small amount that you're just doing, maybe just a sort of renovation of kitchen and bathroom things. But if you're getting a bit more structural, like open plan or doing some extensions, then structural works, I'm going to be honest, 9 times out of 10, the current provider won't be able to provide terms or have these horrible little exclusions in the policies in relation to works, which obviously the client doesn't want to have in there.
Got it. So really important to have a good chat with your current insurer first. So the all-important question, how much does renovation insurance cost?
So it really all depends on the type of property and the type of works that are being carried out at that property. Our lowest levels of cover, they start from £109, which is a one-off premium that you pay for the course of your contract. We do anything from a 3-month policy to a 3-year policy. So obviously the 3-month one's going to be rated a lot cheaper than the 3-year policy. Our highest level of cover, which we would normally recommend for most clients, about 80% of all of our clients would opt for that anyway. The minimum premium on that is £529. Again, that's going to be dependent on your type of property and the works that you're carrying out.
Got it. But even more importantly, how much could it save you?
Again, that will really vary, but using this kitchen, for example, if somebody they've had their new extension done, their new kitchen is waiting to be fitted, and it's all stored in boxes, waiting for your kitchen fitter to come around in a couple of weeks' time, then there's a big escape of water incident in the property or a theft, and all of the units are damaged, all of your new appliances are damaged, or everything's stolen, for example. That new kitchen could have cost £25,000. So really, that would be covered under your renovation insurance. So in that particular scenario, that person would have saved £25,000.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a big risk not to get it, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if people are 2 or 3 weeks into their project and they just haven't got renovation insurance, can they still get it? What should they do?
Yeah, that's not normally a problem for us. Sometimes they think, I better go and speak to my current insurer, and that's when they've obviously declined the policy or can't cater for it anymore. So yeah, we come across them quite often. What we sort of make sure though that you do sort of, if you can, do it at the beginning of your project, especially with self-builds as well, because obviously materials are on site from day one, but obviously you just want to protect your assets.
Yeah, really important to think about it up front. Yeah. So what are the most common issues that happen on a renovation project that people end up claiming for?
So for us personally on Renovation Plan, the most common claims that we've had in the last couple of years are escape of water, so that could be like a burst pipe, and theft claims, theft of materials, theft of, as I mentioned earlier, your new appliances that are waiting to be fitted, anything that's left outside, then yeah.
And what are we talking in terms of claim amounts?
So again, for us personally, escape of water, our average escape of water claim amount over the last couple of years has been £8,000, and for theft, our average is £5,000. But they're quite low figures compared to some of the claims that we do unfortunately see, and we have seen some really nasty ones.
Yeah, I had one few months back where they stole the spotlights of the kitchen for about £10,000.
Oh my goodness.
So again, the client wasn't living there and they just broke in. So
wow,
yeah,
that's
it's
terrible.
just one of those things. And obviously with the lovely British weather, you never know what's going to be, hurricane, whatever name's going to come around the corner. Again, if you've got a half-built extension, you want to try and cover protect it from the elements.
Yeah, of
but
course.
sometimes that is not the case, as I've just literally put a claim through with a collapsed garage that's just literally just blown away.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, all sorts of different claims like that. So
wow.
But then obviously the more serious ones, we have had a few total losses, which is sad for us, for the client as well, because they've just done all that hard work. But we have rebuilt them and then put them back.
And the important thing is they were insured, so if they hadn't been insured, they'd have had a total loss and actually no way to recuperate that.
And 2 of the total losses were electrical issues due to the works.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah, sad.
Well, thank goodness they were insured.
Following on from that, we always just recommend to clients, just trying to protect their assets as well. So like boarding up windows and doors if they've got the half-built extension, or having new windows and doors put in, just to prevent people trying to gain entry and access to it.
Really important points, because although it is a building site, you need to make sure that it's as protected as possible and that your assets that are there are protected as well.
And a funny story on my own site that I had literally 2 o'clock in the morning thinking, oh my goodness, that is raining so hard, and my pipe had burst. So luckily I was on site, but obviously if I wasn't on site, having it regularly checked is a really key thing.
That is a really good point. So if someone isn't on site and their site is empty, like we talked about before, how regularly should they be checking?
We would like to say sort of at least once a week internally, so you can check. But 9 times the builder's going to be there anyway, and they could be responsible for checking that. But and it's obviously if the cold weather hits again, just keeping the heating, if it's you know, you can unload just to prevent, like, you know, pipes from freezing as well. It's a good tip.
So what happens if I need to make a claim? What do I do?
So in the first instance, we ask everybody to try and do what they can to prevent further damage. So as an example, if there was escape of water and a pipe had burst, then obviously you would need to try and do what you can to stop the leak from happening. After that point, the client would contact us to actually process the claim. They would need to fill out a claim form, which would then be passed on to the insurers. In some cases, a loss adjuster would be appointed, who is a specialist in that area, who will guide the client through their claims step by step. In more simple cases, the insurer could look to just look at the claim on a case-by-case basis and settle it once they've got all the documents that they need.
Great. So what changes have you seen in the renovation industry lately, and where do you think things are moving forward in the future?
Okay, so I think obviously being in a little bit long, I've seen a lot of changes, especially during the pandemic. So many people were at home, like, you know, evaluating all their house. What can we do? What should we do? People save money on holidays, so they spent it on their projects and houses. So I think, like, you know, like it's a beautiful space, like having extensions, more light, more, so bifold doors were like really popular. There was so much delays on getting them in and shipped over. And, you know, just making outbuildings, space, offices. Yeah, so, you know, during the pandemic, really, we were just so busy with everybody deciding that's it, they're going to renovate their property.
And so, Brooke, on the materials front, like, what trends and changes have you seen in that space?
So I think during the pandemic, even though there was a shortage of timber and wood, a lot of people have been opting for timber frame properties. We've also seen quite a lot of people going down the more eco-friendly route. So doing things like green roofs and metal cladding, metal roofs and things like that. And obviously solar panels are really popular now. So they're kind of key changes for us that we've noticed in terms of materials.
Yeah, definitely.
So everyone likes a bit of advice. Have you got any tips for home renovators?
I think just be realistic on your time scale as well. Although policies can always, you know, be extended, I think just go for the worst scenario, allow for delays, allow for like material delays, contractor delays, things like that. And the key thing is just check that you've got a reputable builder and contractor as well. It's a key thing, because unfortunately we are seeing it, you know, more and more that got some builder issues. So just check, make sure that's all good.
So important, because they're so in demand at the moment, aren't they, builders? So that's why, as you said earlier, it's so important to check the insurance, make sure there's a contract in place, and make sure that you're as safe as possible.
And with that as well, obviously we're complying with JCTs as well, joint contract tribunals. It can vary on who's covering what as well. So that's a big thing, and, you know, we're always here to help and guide accordingly on that.
Great. Okay, so why should people use Renovation Plan?
I'm going to say it's definitely our team. I know that we are biased, but a lot of us have actually done our own projects ourselves, so I'm halfway through mine at the moment. This means that we can kind of help clients firsthand. We know what they're going through, we know what their concerns are going to be and the stresses, so we completely relate to what they're going through. And I think this really gives us more of a personal touch. So yeah, definitely our team.
Yeah, of course. So you're not only insurance experts, you're actually renovation experts, and you've been in their shoes, which I think is really important for anyone at the start of their journey. So what are the key benefits of your policy over and above others?
So one of the key selling points of our policy is that we have a really flexible product. So we can offer anything ranging from a 3-month policy to a 36-month policy. After that point, we can extend policies by a minimum of a month at a time, just to allow people, when their projects do get delayed, if they do need a little bit more cover. If all works finish early and it's before your policy expiry date, then great. We can give a pro rata return premium on any unused premium that you've paid, subject to no claims, and we do have a small £25 cancellation fee.
I think that's incredible, because I know that one of the key challenges and the key worries for renovators is, you know, builders can say it's one time frame, and often it doesn't always go to plan. So knowing that there's that flexibility in place to go under or over time frames is just so beneficial.
And especially, as Brooke said, we can extend the policies for a short term, and we also have a little sort of benefit in our policy. We actually give 2 weeks grace at the end of our policy, which is for free of charge. So just in case they're waiting for sign off or building control to come back, or just finishing off some painting and decorating, snagging works.
Oh, that's incredible. Bonus. Brooke, Louise, thank you so much. That was so interesting. Hopefully you found that useful, but there is a ton more information on the Renovation Plan website, so don't forget to download the free guide to your home renovation insurance. You can also sign up to the newsletter, and if you do, you'll be in with the chance to win £100 John Lewis vouchers. Who doesn't want that? Thanks again.